The S&P 500 is making new all-time highs, and I'm beating it. I want to show you how I'm doing, but before I do, I need to tell you that I'm a new options trader. I don't know how well I'm going to be doing this year, but I've got a goal to hit 50% return on my $16,000, and I want to take you with me and show you. Let's take a look at my current positions and how I'm doing, and then I'll show you how I'm beating the S&P 500. So my first position is DraftKings, and we can see here that this has a very strong chart. It is trending up above the moving averages here. I've got the 8 EMA as a yellow line here, and it broke through this trend line, this increasing trend line. The question is this week, is it going to hold that trend line? And when earnings come out on Thursday, is it going to continue to push to make new highs? Or is it going to sell off? Time is going to tell. But I think we're seeing a lot of strength in this stock. So you can see right here, I have 100 shares at $37.50 of DraftKings. I'm selling a call at $39, and that means when this expires, I'm going to have $150 of capital gain. On top of that, I have collected $116, $1.16 per share on this position through collecting premiums. I'm in the money right now, and I'm just waiting until the end of this week on the 16th for this option to expire, and then I can start shopping around for new opportunities. We have earnings coming up on Thursday, so we'll see what happens with this stock, but it has a lot of volatility planned for the end of this week. Is the stock going to continue to go up? Is it going to fail and drop down? Is it going to have bad earnings? We'll see at the end of the week. So Palantir had great earnings, and a lot of people bought into it. As you can see in this chart here, we have a big gap up after earnings here. That's what that light is right here. Tremendous strength up and pushing and continuing to new highs. What are we going to see here with Palantir? Are we going to see a push continuing up to maybe $30 this coming week? Are we going to see it consolidate here? We have this red candle here, so that kind of tells us a little bit of weakness, but it's on light volume. I think we could potentially see maybe a pullback here and some leveling off until we see some support building here. Something to watch out here with Palantir is that we have a lot of FOMO here. I think that this price has jumped up very strong, and we have to be careful that we don't see a sharp sell-off because we have broken through a trend, and we could be seeing a sell-off here at the end of this week. We could see consolidation and then a push up as well. It's hard to tell, but something to be mindful of. This stock has been pushed up really high, really fast, and so it could continue to push up, but I think it's likely that we'll see either consolidation or a pullback here in the short term. So without getting into too much of the weeds here, I was able to close 3 contracts of my Palantir position. Now I only have my 100 shares that I own at $19, and then the call that I'm selling at $19 that's in the money. So I'm ready for that to close next week as well. So now I've got some cash freed up, and I'll be able to shop for other opportunities. I may start a new position in Palantir, or I might shop around for other opportunities from different stocks that I like. All right, so with SoFi, I've got my 200 shares at an average price of $8.13. I'm selling 2 calls at $8. I'm continuing to roll those. Thankfully, they're in the money, and these 2 calls alone have made me $166. I have my $9 put that I've been rolling, and it's been in the money for a while now. I'm not collecting as much premium on it, but I'm not too worried about it because it's a $900 position. Not a huge part of my portfolio, but I do want to see the price of SoFi go up closer into the $9 range. So I rolled it out about 30 days for an $11 profit. So my new $8 put that I sold on SoFi has so far collected me 57 cents per share. All right, next we have AI, and we have earnings coming up on the 28th. That's something to keep in mind at the end of this month. We're going to see some volatility in AI. So far, we've seen strength, right? Palantir has had strong earnings, and then I think we can expect AI to do the same. We see some strength here in the chart. We see AI being range bound just like SoFi. We saw strength at the end of the week, some high volume coming in, and it didn't want to break this wedge pattern that we can see here. We saw some pushback at the end on Friday, and so we'll see what happens at the end of this week. Can it break the wedge this week? Will it pull back and continue to go down toward that increasing trend line down here? Time will tell. We'll see. But I think we'll continue to see range-bound price action throughout the rest of this week until we get closer to earnings. And the reason why is because many people are anticipating what earnings are going to look like for AI. So I think the stock is going to stay pretty stable until we get closer to that time at the end of this month. So my AI position is a $28 put, one contract. So far, I've collected $195 from this contract alone, and I've just continued to roll it. And it's been in the money, but finally this week, it has pushed up past $28, and I am out of the money here. The best thing that can happen for me with AI is that the price stays above $28, and I can buy back the put that I sold for pennies. Now that you've seen my positions, let's take a look at how I did for week 6 and where I stand on the year. We're coming in week 6 with a total net liquidation of $17,374, premium collected $59, percent return on the week 6.98%. That brings a net liquidation year to date of $1,351, total premium collected at $913, and we have our total return year to date of 8.43%. And my goal is to turn that 8.3% right now into 50% by the end of this year. And I want to take you along with me, so subscribe and follow along. So let's take a look at how I'm doing compared to the S&P 500. So you just saw my return on the year is 8.43% so far. The S&P 500 is a whopping 5.38. So what I'm learning so far with my strategy is that it is doing well. Even though the S&P 500, it's making new highs, it's going up, and people are putting their money in the stock market, my strategy is actually beating that so far. We'll see how it goes for the rest of the year, but I am on a learning and growing journey to turn it into a 50% return with or without the S&P 500. So you don't want to miss out on this journey. So if you want to check out my how-to videos on the TastyTrade platform, check out this playlist.